One of the requests we get all the time is for individual heat and serve meals. Meals that people can take and just throw in their microwave, or a stovetop or whatever, air fryer, but especially in the microwave. People want it for themselves, they want it for their college-age kids, they want it for their aging parents, and today we are here to deliver.
I like having them because even though we work from home, sometimes it's hard to cook for yourself when it's just you. So it is nice to have something small in your freezer that you can just pull out and throw in the microwave. And what's nice about these containers is that they are microwave safe.
They are also dishwasher safe and freezer safe.
And they are also available in our Amazon store, link below.
Absolutely. Today we're going to be showing you how you can assemble all of these meals. We've got a fair bit of variety for you, lots of different protein options, even some vegetarian ones. So there's lots to choose from. And we made these in one day, including our prep. Usually we tell you that it's better to prep one day and do your assembly the next day. We would still recommend that for you. But if you had to do it all in one day, which we did, we were in a time crunch, then it is absolutely possible. And you're gonna end up with, if you do exactly what we did, about a month's worth of meals.
That's right. And it is great to have that variety. It is great to be able to just pull it out on a day that you don't really feel like cooking. So you could even stretch it to 2 months if you are still avidly cooking, or if you are a lady who lunches.
Or if you double each of these meals, which we also recommend because you're doing the prep anyway, you're assembling things anyway, you might as well double, especially your favorites. So let's get started.
You bet.
For our prep, one of the first things that I did is I threw some chicken breasts into the Instant Pot. Now, if you've watched our channel before, then you know that I am not the most proficient with my Instant Pot.
That is one of the appliances that I don't have. And so I'm not that proficient either. So we phoned her friend. We phoned our friend Michelle. Thanks, Michelle, for teaching us how to use an Instant Pot and cooking chicken. But there are great recipes for Instant Pot in our club and on the website because you guys have Instant Pots. So we figure it out for you. Don't worry.
And so you're gonna put your chicken breasts in the Instant Pot, or you can cook them up in a skillet or in the oven, because all that's important here is that we get them cooked. So we cooked ours on high pressure, normal pressure, whatever pressure, some kind of Instant Pot setting. Manual.
Manual pressure. I watched her I'm like, you're a wizard.
For 8 minutes. A little bit of water in there. Thanks, Michelle. And then we allowed those to cool a bit and cubed them up, because with those, we just threw together our teriyaki chicken. The reason we wanted the chicken already cooked, of course, is because we want these to just be easy reheats. So you're gonna take that cubed cooked chicken in your bowl. You're gonna just add some melted honey, soy sauce, some minced ginger, we like to use ours from the squeezy tube, and some minced garlic. Again, we are making things really simple here by using garlic from a jar. You're just gonna mix that all together in your bowl, and then we transferred this into 3 of those microwave safe containers, along with some rice and frozen broccoli. So when you go to reheat these, you have your entire meal all ready to go.
All ready to go. And delicious.
Delicious. I mean, teriyaki chicken, broccoli, rice, that's kind of classic.
It doesn't get better than that.
And one of the things I forgot to mention is that in our prep, we cooked a lot of rice. You're gonna see rice as a recurring thing here. But again, if you're making a little, make a lot. Be able to use it for a lot of things. And here is a trick for you. And I think that we forgot to video this, but when you are cooking rice and you want to cool it to be able to put it into your freezer cooking dishes, you want to spread it out on a baking sheet, because if you've got it still in the pot, it's going to take a long time to cool. If you spread it out on a baking sheet and then pop that in your fridge, then it cools a lot more quickly.
You're increasing your surface area for the sciencey types. That's why it works better.
Exactly. And so then you've got your rice, which will be a perfect side with your sweet and sour meatballs.
They are a perfect side for the sweet and sour meatballs. The sweet and sour meatballs are a little bit more complicated than the teriyaki chicken, even though we had to figure out how to use the Instant Pot, simply because they're just a little bit more labor intensive. You're going to make your meatballs. So we start out in our bowl with our lean ground beef. We're going to add in some graham cracker crumbs, some minced onion, some dry onion soup mix, some pepper, a beaten egg, and some evaporated milk. We're going to mix that all together. Now, lots of times I throw caution to the wind and I get in there with my hands and I do it just like that. This time I used a spatula. To mix together, and it worked just as well. And then you can use a scoop, you can use a spoon, you can eyeball it. I like things to be a little bit more symmetrical, so I used a 1/4 cup and I filled that, and then I divided that in two. So each one would be about a 2 tablespoon meatball, which is just kind of a nice size. You don't get too many, and each one is filling on its own. And I plopped them onto my parchment paper on my cookie sheet, because we're gonna bake these first. Then I rolled them. So I did end up getting my hands dirty anyway, and that's okay. So I did roll them after I did it so I could just be as fast as possible. We got them into the oven at 350 for about 25 minutes, and then we pulled them out and we let them cool. Then we are going to mix together our cooked meatballs, a can of pineapple chunks. Don't drain them, you want that extra juice. A green pepper that has been sliced, some brown sugar, some cornstarch, a little bit of vinegar, and some soy sauce. We're going to mix that all together, and then I spooned it into my trays. Now, I took my time to get them fairly even, and it was a really nice one to have with the rice, because there's a fair amount of sauce with this one by the time you're done, and it's a one and done already because it has the vegetables right in there with it, with your meatballs and your rice, full meal, and really, really delicious.
And with your pineapple, you even get some fruit.
You get your fruits and vegetables in. So when we make freezer meals, we often tell you to stick with one protein at a time. So we're going to continue with the raw ground beef before we move on to the cooked ground beef. It just goes faster. You don't have to go and sanitize everything before you switch to your new protein. And my hands were already, well, I'm not going to do this with dirty hands, but you know what I mean. We're just going to keep on going with the ground beef. So in our bowl, we are going to add our lean ground beef. We're going to add in minced onion, some green pepper that is finely chopped, some breadcrumbs, Italian seasoning, your favorite barbecue sauce, some Worcestershire sauce, ketchup, some chili sauce, another beaten egg, and a bit of parsley. And don't forget your salt and pepper. We're going to mix that all together, and this time I used a scoop that is like an ice cream scoop, and it has the little getter outer that you can that's a technical term that you were allowed to use, so that I could do them a little bit more evenly. I used a 1/4 cup in each of the muffin cups, and then I went back and I added like another half into each one so that they are very even. We get that into the oven. We're gonna cook that at 425 for 23 to 25 minutes, let those cool, and then we start again with our individual dishes. We put 2 in each one, so this gave us 6 servings, which was really nice to have 2 in each one. And what goes better with your meatloaf than mashed potatoes? So we added in our scoops of mashed potatoes, and we even had some left over, which is really exciting for Charlotte's kids because they certainly love mashed potatoes. And we added in a few different varieties of vegetables. There was some leftover corn from a can that we had opened and didn't need all of it. We had some frozen peas on hand, and we had some frozen beans. So again, variety in our vegetables. And if you're doing this with all of the other proteins and things that we're making, you don't have to eat meatloaf muffins every day. You can have them every so often. You can make these last for a couple of months and be so happy that on a day that you're just craving that meatloaf, you can go grab it.
with the mashed potatoes, it's just such a homey meal. We're gonna put the link for our garlic mashed potatoes recipe down below as well. Now that we're finished, the cute little mini meatloaf muffin things and the sweet and sour meatballs, we can take the rest of our ground beef and cook that up and allow it to cool. Take that and put it into a bowl. You're gonna mix in some chopped onion, taco seasoning, chili powder, thinly sliced zucchini, some of that cooked rice that we already have, corn, a can of green chilies, half a can of diced tomatoes, and then you're going to mix all of that together to make your garden taco rice. Once your garden taco rice is made, it's so nice and colorful, it's pretty, it's obviously healthy because it's got your vegetables, your protein, your carb, everything in there. We're gonna spoon this out into 4 containers, and then on each container we're just gonna top it with some grated cheddar cheese, which will melt when you heat this. And we've got 4 more meals done and added to all of the variety that we're making.
That's right, and then we get to go on to our next protein.
One of the things I wanted to mention is that even though these containers come with a lid, and it's a super handy little lid that fits the containers perfectly, and you should use them, we would encourage you to put a layer of plastic wrap down directly on top of the food. Make it touching the food, because when you're freezer cooking, air is what's gonna cause your freezer burn. So when you just put the lid and no plastic wrap, they'll still last in your freezer, but they won't last nearly as long. So to prolong the life of these freezer meals and all the work you're putting in, as well as the investment of buying the groceries, if you just add that layer of plastic wrap before you add the lid, you're going to extend the life of these freezer meals and be really glad that you did.
This next recipe is a new one to us, and we are trying it for the first time, but it sounds really delicious when I talk about the ingredients, so I think you will like it too, and you can give it a try. This is pineapple fried rice, which we're familiar with: chicken fried rice, shrimp fried rice, special fried rice. This one is pineapple fried rice. It's a vegetarian meal. We start out with our rice. In the bowl, we're going to add in our minced garlic, some minced onion, some diced red pepper, some frozen peas, some pineapple chunks that this time we have drained. We're going to add in some sliced green onions, some oyster sauce. Yes, I promise the oyster sauce is important. It doesn't taste super fishy. If you're allergic to shellfish, don't add that. But it does add a nice layer of flavor to it, and we put it in our chicken fried rice all the time. We're also going to add in some low sodium soy sauce. And if you have some raw unsalted cashews, you can add them in for some extra protein, and you can add some heat, a little bit of sriracha or some chili garlic sauce. You're going to mix this all together in your bowl, and then you are going to divide it evenly among your 4 dishes. And again, throw that plastic wrap on or get your lid on there, get it into the freezer, and you got 4 more.
Now, if you have watched one of our super mega sessions on our channel where we make more than 100 meals over a 2-day period, we'll pop a video right there to our latest one where we made 156 meals, which
yeah, we did.
may or may not have been fun and exhausting.
It was both, but worth it.
Oh, so worth
Totally
it, and we
worth
are
it.
still reaping the benefits of that, let me tell you. Last night we had the shrimp saganaki, which was our first time ever having it, and we also had the chicken asparagus sheet pan.
Mm-hmm.
They both have olives in them, so they seem to kind of go together, and I just thought this would be really good. And we had a lot of our kids home last night and just wanted to stretch the meal.
Yes.
And make sure we had some leftovers for today, so I took out 2 meals. But yeah, we are fully enjoying all of the fruits of our labor.
We had the Spanish rice with chorizo sausage, and it was also very good, very fast to fry up in the frying pan, and filling and delightful. It was just very good.
So if you have watched those mega sessions before, then you know that at the end of the mega session, I always invent recipes with what we have left from our prepped ingredients. And this time, I had prepped some extra things because I was considering doubling one of the meals, and I didn't, and just things happen. So you end up with extras, or like we used half a can of diced tomatoes, half a large can of diced tomatoes, because in our house we only have the large cans.
Right.
If you used a small can, you would just use the one, but I had half a can of diced tomatoes left over, so I decided to throw everything together in a bowl, and I thought it was going to be a soup, because soups are always good, but it ended up being, I think, what's going to be a pasta sauce.
It's anybody's guess. You can vote below. Vote in the comments below if this should be a soup or a pasta sauce. Should we cook it down and make it thick and yummy for a pasta? Or should we add some chicken broth to it and make it into a soup?
Well, it already has some chicken broth, so who knows? Anyway, what I did is I added chopped spinach, onion, carrots, that half a can of diced tomatoes. I had most of a can of tomato paste in my fridge, so I added that as well. I added some sliced mushrooms, chicken broth, Italian seasoning, garlic, and again, I was considering that it was going to be a soup, so I was going to add a bay leaf, but then I was thinking with the amount of spinach, maybe it would be good to take this one and like run an immersion blender through it once it's all cooked and get, the carrots and spinach and everything to all cook down and have it be like a thicker pasta sauce. So I don't really know. I'm gonna try them both. Try one as a soup and one as a pasta sauce.
All we know is that we feel better when we're able to use up all our ingredients. We hate waste, and Charlotte's really great at it. If this is your first time visiting our channel, she's one of those people that has the palate. She has the great palate where chefs are like the blindfold test on Hell's Kitchen, and they put it in your mouth and you have to identify the ingredient. She can do that. And she's good at putting flavors together, much better than me. So we appreciate her talents here. And sometimes some of our best recipes have been totally invented by her with leftover ingredients.
Yeah, that one pot chicken and mushroom pasta that our family has been like raving over the last few weeks. That was from 2 mega sessions ago where we had leftover cooked chicken, leftover sliced mushrooms, and I was like, because we had a little bit of mushroom math.
We had a mushroom math issue. Yeah, we did. We're both equally bad at math, but when you're in the grocery store and you're under a time crunch and you need 16 cups of mushrooms, you panic, okay? And you just buy lots.
So that recipe resulted from that happy accident.
It turned out to be a total happy accident. And that one is a new one in the club. If you are also new here, you should know that we have the Freezer Meals 101 Club, which is a membership. It's a wonderful membership because we have hundreds of recipes. You can create a meal plan. Then you can generate an ingredients list from the meal plan. That will also tell you a prep list of what you need to prep. And then you get some labels with it that have the cooking instructions on it. And then you can do what we are doing here. The recipes are scalable. You can scale them up, you can scale them down, you can make it work for you. There's a link down below in the description. Be sure to join the club.
We're gonna make some healthy lentil soup. So in a large stovetop pot, we're gonna heat up some oil, add in some diced onion, some minced garlic, mix that all around, and then we're going to add in some diced tomatoes, some dried lentils, oregano, basil, diced carrots. You could also add some celery to this step, but I'm allergic, so we've skipped that today. And you can add some bay leaves and some vegetable broth. Then you're going to simmer that and let everything soften, and then you're going to add in some blackstrap molasses and cider vinegar along with some salt and pepper. You're gonna allow it to cook a little bit more, and then you wanna stir in some spinach, just long enough for the spinach to wilt and cook down slightly. And then you're going to spoon this into your containers. Now you want to make sure that it is fully cool before you add the plastic wrap and your lid, because again, with wanting to avoid freezer burn, anything that you add in when it's still warm and then you add that lid on, you're gonna get condensation. And that can lead to those ice crystals, and it's never a good thing when you're freezer cooking. So that is one thing that we know a lot about, is freezer meals, freezer all the things.
We've been doing this for a long time. We are experts in the freezer meal realm.
You know, if we tell you like what to do about, well, in my case, like a motorcycle or a horse, you know, things I know nothing about, don't listen to me. But if we're saying like let things cool before you add your lid or before you seal the container or whatever, then those things we do know something about.
Yes, we do. I think that we have a really, really great collection of meals here. What is our final total?
It is 27 if you include those two weird pasta sauce soup things. 25 if you don't.
We're going to include them because we're optimists. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but we're going to include them.
We did make them.
Yes.
So you pretty much end up with a month's worth of meals here. There's a fair bit of variety. Now, we did have a lot of rice.
We had a lot of rice today, but if you check some of our other videos that are geared towards 1 and 2 servings, you will see that there's a tremendous amount of variety. We do have some other potato options, we have a lot of pasta options, and of course there are a lot of rice options. They all just showed up today in the rice one.
One of the other things is that I was trying to make these meals frugal, and rice is nothing if not frugal. So that was another factor, because I wanted to make it so that you could keep all of these in around that $100 mark for your month of dinners, which is always really nice. Or in our case, under, because we were able to get the ground beef on sale. So I think that that's a pretty great accomplishment as well.
It really is, and in the words of the great comedian Mitch Hedberg, if I want to eat 1,000 of something, rice is the way to go.
I've never heard that before.
I think it's more like rice is really great if I want to eat 1,000 of something, but that was Mitch Hedberg. He's passed away a few years ago now, but if you ever want to look up a really funny, deadpan, like absurd humor comedian like that, a little dry, look up Mitch Hedberg. Really, really funny stuff.
Okay, we're gonna put a video actually we're gonna put a whole playlist right over there.
We are.
Of all of our meals for 1 or 2 videos. So if you're looking for a lot of ideas, we invite you to check that out. Thank you so much for joining us today, and happy cooking.
Bye.